Hi, welcome to Street Priest Ministries. I'm your host, Brother Jay. So we're taking the Gospels back to the streets. Today's drive-through message is Judas, my brother, betrayed with a kiss. Turning your Bibles to Luke 22:1. First, I would like to say SPM gives our condolences to the families, family members that were slain in a Las Vegas terrorist attack. And also our prayers are going out for the survivors of the attack, that they have a speedy recovery. We pray in Jesus' mighty name for a speedy recovery for you and your loved ones. Part of the reason that I decided to do, I've done Judas before. I think a couple of times, different angles. You can definitely get more than one angle out of a character. Done Christ with many different facets of Christ that we could teach on. But Judas inspired me because it took a lot of Judases, I believe, in high places to pull off this operation here that we just witnessed. And I honestly believe one lone 64-year-old sick wolf in a retirement home could pull this off. I don't think so. The logistics is mission impossible. And we just happen to live in a city where there's cameras every 15 feet. And for us to only have a handful of footage from homegrown newscasters in their cabs and whatever else, to me, is deplorable. Terrorism. The nature of terrorism is to terrorize the people, to paralyze the people. This is a free society. And it's a cripple a nation. To cripple a nation monetarily or for us economically. This happened to be a tourist trap here in Vegas. So could have a possible effect on the tourist industry. It's the main bread and butter of Las Vegas. But the overall design effect of terrorism is to paralyze the people and cripple a nation. This is a free society. Every time one of these either ISIS attacks, but Islamic State, they're starting to say that this is loosely affiliated or affiliated with it. Or you got other wannabe homegrown terrorists here. I'm not even going to say the name, but they're not worthy. They're cowards too. All of them cowards. It's a cowardly act what was done on these people, strangers they don't know, having a good time. They're so full of hate and rage that they would inflict this much harm on people they don't know. Cowardly act. These are all cowards. But this is a free country, a free nation. Every time one of these cowardly acts occur, law-abiding citizens, like a boa constrictor, they wrap some more laws around our neck and strangle us with new laws, new procedures, invade our privacy, our rights. We already live in a police state pretty much anyway as it is. I mean, they got satellites that can zoom in on a dime from outer space. We have so-called intelligence agencies I mean, the alphabet soup is endless. But they seem to be impotent, always during these type of crises. So what good is all these idiotic laws that is undermining the Constitution constantly? The Second Amendment, number 1. If a killer want to kill, he's going to find a means to kill. He'll find a way to get to it. I believe it was Benjamin Franklin said, those that trade their liberty for security deserve night. I don't want to give up my liberty to have my rights invaded by ever snooping, long-nosed, Fruit Loop nose government. That's impotent all the time, has been proven over again. Look at the laws they got in other countries. Mexico's right next door to us. They have strenuous gun laws. They got a crime rate that's off the charts. Look at Europe, with the Muslim rapists and terrorists raging over there, bombing out of control. Bombs are against the laws. Taking a truck or a vehicle, a bus, and running people over is against the law. Murder is against the law. Killers, anarchists, terrorists, gangsters and thugs don't care about your stupid gun laws. Submachine guns are against the law in most states. They didn't stop anything. This machine gun was definitely used, I believe, without a doubt, in this attack. Me being raised in a military family with special forces and everything else around me, and all kind of weapons. I definitely know weapons. And the sound of weapons. Anyway, back to Judas. There's a lot of, like I stated at the intro, there's a lot of Judases involved in high places to pull off operation on this magnitude. Believe me. The sheer logistics involved, you have to have common sense to understand that. This is a very sophisticated operation. So anyway, let me get off of this. I've invented. Like I said, I've covered Judas in the past because we have a lot of Judases now everywhere in high places. Dark forces, dark evil forces, I would say, is controlling. They're minions. And they would like to have us in servitude to these minions. And to totally flush the Constitution, what's left of it, down the toilet. Now, the aspects I covered, you can get to teaching Judas, my brother. Like I said, this is like a part 2. I covered Judas. I think I've covered him, if I'm not mistaken, in Thieves in the Temple as well. Get those videos. On the first Judas, I dealt with the psychological profile of a Judas, what makes a Judas tick, and went inside of Judas' head. And you can get that teaching. I'm not going to cover much of that. This aspect of the Judas I'm covering has to do with power, not greed. We'll touch a little on greed, but greed was definitely a motive with him. But power was definitely a motive to pay him to do what he did. So that's what we're going to deal with. Okay, so Luke chapter 22:1. Hopefully you're there. Oh, by the way, before I get started, Jesus had his one Judas. I've had several in life. Male and female alike. I've been lost millions in assets, property, tangled in lawsuits. I don't want to go on with that. But I'm not crying boo or anything, but I'm just letting you know. I definitely felt the pain of Judas in my life. And it's made me kind of the paranoid, reclusive, introverted person that I am now. I got a handful of friends in my circle. I've had for years, and I don't trust too many other people. I'm still single. Because of it. When you get burned so many times, it's just the way it is. But for my personal experience with these Judases, greed is definitely a motive. And I've had a couple that wanted power. I was in a different place, different time where I was in a position of power. And I had them gunning for me. So I've been there too. So we're going to deal with the power aspect of these Judases. Now, Luke chapter 22:1. Now the feast of unleavened bread drew nigh, which is called the Passover. I've taught on that. You can get the communion on Passover. I've taught on Passover. And the chief priests and the scribes sought how they might kill him. See, these evil men, these were evil men. They were priests. They were ministers of their day. Ministers and government working hand in hand is nothing new. We got a bunch of sellout Pharisees, scribes, and Sadducees in the pulpits of the day with their 501c3s, licking the boots of the junior antichrists running around there for a little power and prestige and money. And the chief priests and the scribes sought how they might kill him. See, when you threaten the status quo, they want to kill you. Jesus rose to that level. He had people power. Running around doing these miracles, healing people, raising the dead, curing the blind, the lame are walking and leaping for joy. The crippled are stretching forth their hands. The demon-possessed have been set free of their bondage. Power. That's how Jesus acquired power. He even fed 3,000 on one occasion, 5,000 on another. Doesn't like get people up under you like food, their belly. You get a crowd, you get a loyal crowd. Just feed them every day. I got a certain place I go to in Nevada. They got some very beautiful pigeons. I got beautiful birds in my backyard, all kind of beautiful exotic birds, including road runners, shade birds, all kinds of birds, hummingbird. But anyway, this particular place has beautiful pigeons, and I go there to think and work sometimes, and concentrate, and these birds know me, and they give me a royal salute. I got a hell of a follow on the pigeons now. They fly behind me like I get a royal salute. Pigeons is a very smart bird. But the point I'm making, you feed anything long enough, who will not be loyal to, including the bird. The bird's got sense. So Jesus had a heck of a following. He had some power. And the chief priests and the scribes sought how they might kill him, for they feared the people. So when the people got your back, sinister Kabbalists like this fear the people. So they got to do a plot, a scheme to change the dynamics. That's what they're doing here. Then entered Satan into Judas. I want to pause on that. Then. The thens are very important in the Bible. I could just teach on thens. I could teach on woes. Woes are very important in the Bible. And sometimes the conjunction but. Then Satan entered into Judas. Now this is very specific. It wasn't one of Satan's boys. This was the quote unquote man himself. Then Satan entered into Judas, named Iscariot, being of the number of the 12. And he went his way and communed with the chief priests and the captains, how he might betray him. Now what got this started with Judas deciding to sell Jesus out was that alabaster box. Judas did not like that. He was carrying the money back. Always keep in mind he was a treasurer. Always look in two departments that get corrupted very easily. One is that treasury department, one handling the money, oversight of money, and the other was the music department. I mean, the devil was he was a musician. He was the choir leader of hell. Two departments. And I'm very familiar with both. Being a musician myself. Anyway. Then entered Satan into Judas, named Iscariot, being of the member of the 12. And he went his way and communed with the chief priests and the captains, how he might betray him unto them. After that woman gave that alabaster box, he was skimming money from the money bag, and he could have got a good lick, and he was really pissed off at Jesus. Behind that waste, he called it. Why waste this oil on the word of God? When God in the flesh, what kind of waste? This is a waste. This money, this could have been sold and given to the poor, he said. See, you got a lot of people that exploit the poor in the name of the poor to carry money bags. A lot of non-profit people, famous for it. I mean, they supposed to get 20%, but it's turned around the other way. The poor gets 20%, if that. Sometimes they get nothing. And they rip them off all the time in the name of charities, catastrophes. You can go on and on. Nothing new under the sun. Judas was one of these characters. And he went his way and communed with the priests. This is called a plot, a conspiracy. Conspiracies are nothing new. To conspire means to plot, to commit a crime, or to commit a crime to a more individual. That's all conspiracy means. See, anybody that thinks outside the box now and don't go with the narrative of the norm, it's called a conspiracy theorist. They coined that phrase, the government, back in the 60s, to discourage anybody from free critical thinking. Called a conspiracy theory now. If you don't go with the controlled narrative. And they were glad. And they were glad. Of course they were. The enemy's always glad when they got a Judas to sell you out. That's what they've been looking for and waiting for. They're hunting for it. I think we got that going on in the day's climate now. Looking for Judas. Sell our leader out. Conspiracies are nothing new. I mean, you reading it in the Bible for yourself. Right here. And they were glad and consented to give him money. They gave him 30 pieces of silver. And he promised and sought opportunity to betray them. Let me read that again. Timing's everything. Because they had to be very careful because they didn't want the people to find out. So this was a sneaky operation. See, sneaky people, evil people, people that plot and scheme, they pick their opportunity to catch you off guard and catch the people off guard, carry out their nefarious activities. No different than today. I bet you a lot of plotting and a lot of scheming went into that massacre, that execution of those innocent people and the injuring of others, 500 others. I bet you a lot of plotting and scheming went in. There wasn't no flyby. Let's go grab a rifle, Joe, and shoot up the crowd. No. Not in Vegas. Not here. And they were glad and coveted to give him money. And he promised and sought opportunity to betray him unto them in the absence of the multitude. Then came the day of unleavened bread, when the Passover must be killed. Now we're going to skip down. Judas has sold him out. He's gotten paid. He's happy. He's skipping down the road now. So we'll go down to 22. Skip down to 22:22. Now Jesus had just had the communion, the Passover with his disciples. Now it's the communion. And the disciples, he's saying, somebody's going to betray me. And he's like, who? Judas is sitting there right in the midst. Jesus already knew, of course. But behold, the hand of him that betrays, verse 21, let's start. But behold, the hand that betrayeth me is with me on the table. So obviously everybody had their hands off the table. And Judas and Jesus had their hands on the table. That's how you could tell. And truly the Son of Man goeth as it is determined. But woe, here we go with them woes. What I tell you about a woe? When Christ, God, any of the prophets say woe to you in the Bible, look out. It's not a good thing to hear from. Usually woe, death, destruction, hell, something's coming behind it. Or all of it, all three. Normally all three. As is determined, but woe unto the man by whom he is betrayed. And they begin to inquire among themselves which of them it would that should do this thing. They didn't know. Jesus knew. Okay, so now we'll skip down. Now this is about power. They're selling Jesus out to flip the equilibrium of things so they can get power, get the momentum going back their way. These evil priests, they just using Judas as a useful idiot tool. You always got these Judases that they don't see the big picture. They just want a quick lick. It's fast money. All right. We'll go down to 36. Luke 22:36. Now, I'm always parked here. Why? Anytime I'm in this vicinity, I'm going to remind you time and time again that Jesus is for the right to bear arms. For all you peacenik, flower childs, fascistic, gun grabbers. Verse 36. But now he said, he that hath a purse, let him take it, and likewise his scrip. And he that hath a sword, let him sell his garments and buy one. For I say unto you, what did Jesus just say? Let's just park there for a minute. See, Jesus, if this was guns, Jesus would tell Brother Jay, if I'm following behind you, go get you a couple of guns. I got more than a couple, but the point I'm making, that's what Jesus would tell me. Jesus was for the right. They just had swords, and that was the highest level that you can go for is personal protection. Now it's guns. I mean, I got swords too, but I mean, what good's a sword? You can see me walk down the street with a sword. I mean, it's not practical. You bring a sword to a gunfight these days. It's ridiculous. But anyway, the point I'm making. Yes, Jesus for the right to bear arms. So get there, and this is and we're under Lex Rex, the Constitution. The Constitution is the law here. The Bible had read Matthew 13 for yourself. We the people rule this country, not a king. You're trying to make it a king and take undermine that Constitution, get it out the way. But so far, the Second Amendment stands. And Jesus is definitely for the Second Amendment. If you don't like it, tough titty, said the kitty. Read that again just to rub it in your face one more time. But now, he that hath a purse, let him take it, and likewise his scrip. And he that hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. In another verse it said two. You get two swords. I think it was Matthew. For I say unto you. Well, we'll stop there. I just wanted to get that in. That's all. Now we'll skip down to 47. It's 22, still on 22. And while he yet spake, behold, a multitude, and he that was called Judas, one of the 12, went before them, and drew near unto Jesus to kiss him. See, someone that sells you out, always going to come. And don't forget Satan's possessor. Satan hopped in him. Always going to betray you with a kiss. Always, Bible calls Satan. See, a lot of people think he's got to come with horns protruding and breathing fire and smoke coming out of his nostrils. No. The Bible says he comes as angel of light. May I help you, please? Please, may I help you? Yeah, you let your guard down. And then he smacks you. That's how the devil came. With a kiss. The devil's possessing Judas. I just want to point that out. You read it for yourself. And if you gullible, like a goose with his head in the sand, you're going to be got. Let the government protect you. Turn in your guns. Let us protect you. We'll take care of you, really. Oh, I feel real safe in my house with 911 and a burglar in the house. Actually, I told you this story before. So you didn't follow me there like you say, oh, Jay is a recycling story. Well, why not? If it fits the occasion. This is another recycle. I actually came home. I lived in a very nice, affluent neighborhood at the time. Technically, I still do, but this was much better than the one I live in now. I came home, there was a burglar in the house. And I'm like, of all the houses he could have hit, why mine? And I have weapons stashed all around the house, you know. It's been in my world, you know, with my training that I have for my family, military family. I always think it's better to be over prepared than under. So I'm always over prepared for whatever the occasion may be, including this one. So anyway, I grabbed one of my assault rifles that I had stashed very cleverly, and the guy heard me pop in the clip quickly, and he jumped out the second story window, landed right in front of me because the door was open. It was a 2-story house. He landed right in. I'm here holding this assault rifle, and we looking at each other eye to eye, and he took off and ran for his life. God was on his side. You know, that's why I'm here to sit here and talk to you and not sit in prison. Because, I mean, it could have. You know, I just say God was fast as a rabbit, and lucky for him, he knew how to hit corners quickly to get out of the way. But anyway, that's just one incident. I've had many other incidences where firearms have saved my life, including a couple of attempted jackings, a couple of one robbery actually, and one was a jacking, but I was ready. And an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's my philosophy. But firearms can save your life. They never talk about that. That's something they don't want to talk about. Women that could have been raped, or home invasions with women and children. The woman shot the assailant. I mean, you can go on and on. The bad guys and evil people are going to do what they do. It takes a good person with a gun to put down a bad person with a gun. So sorry, it's the way it is. And God gives you, I just read it to you, when Jesus told him to grab a sword. God gives you a God-ordained right. That's why it's on the right. The Second Amendment is God-ordained right to defend your house and your family. And if you choose to use a butter knife to protect you and your family, that's your prerogative. That's your obligation. Sure, do it. To each his own. We choose here to use, I almost named some companies.